We're lucky enough to live on some of the most glorious islands on Earth. For me, our landscape, plants and animals, the ever-changing weather and the turn of the seasons make the British Isles a magical place. But all this richness that surrounds us today is the result of a chain of events that started at a time when Britain looked very different. It's hard to believe that not so long ago there was virtually nothing here. This is what Britain was once like, held in the grip of an ice age. As recently as 15,000 years ago, northern Britain was still buried under a mile of ice. And to the south, bare rock and frozen tundra stretched away across the ancient land bridge and beyond into mainland Europe.
And this is what it must have been like back then. Absolutely perishing. The temperature here is minus 15 degrees Celsius, which would have been very mild for the Ice Age, but I tell you, it isn't mild. I've got layers of thermals on, quilted jacket, gloves, headgear to try and keep warm, and already I can hardly feel the tips of my fingers. I am, as I say, up north, nithered.
But the days of this deep freeze were numbered, and we know that because of these beetles. For thousands of years, cold-loving beetles had eked out a living in Ice Age Britain. But then, a new species suddenly appeared, and this one liked it hot. Which could only mean one thing. We were warming up, and warming up quickly, perhaps by as much as 10 degrees in just 50 years. The Great Melt had begun. This rapid change in our fortunes was due to one of the periodic wobbles in the Earth's orbit, a wobble that took the northern hemisphere slightly nearer to the Sun and kick-started the thaw. For a while, Britain must have been a very wet place indeed. The Great Melt has left its mark all over the British landscape, like here in Yorkshire. The North York Moors Railway winds its way through some of our most beautiful upland scenery, nowhere more so than Newtondale. An 8-mile-long valley deeply incised into the hard gritstone. But once this valley would have echoed to a very different sound. Billions of gallons of water on the move. And this valley was shaped by one of the most powerful rivers the British Isles has ever seen. To get some idea of what this would have been like, look what happened in Iceland when a volcanic eruption melted a glacier, releasing a catastrophic flood that carried all before it. There are other signs of the scale of these floods just across the Pennines. The great horseshoe of cliffs at Malham Cove in the Yorkshire Dales were once Britain's very own Niagara Falls. A huge meltwater cataract poured over the edge of this great arc of rock. Not all of this meltwater drained away to the sea. It also flooded the depressions gouged out by glaciers thousands of years before, creating huge lakes. Some of those glacial lakes are still around today, like here in the Lake District. Ullswater, Coniston Water, Wastwater and Windermere
were all created when water from those retreating ice sheets was trapped in these valleys. Make your mark on the map.